So today is our first day actually filming for the podcast. We are so excited to be doing this and just a smidge nervous.
Accurate.
So I don't know what I wanted to say after that. Were you going to say
That's fair. I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Today we are going to go through the prologue all the way through the end of chapter 4. Full disclosure, Maddie has completed the entire first book. We have been discussing along the way. She's been texting me and writing down a lot of her thoughts. Anything she forgets, we've kind of jogged our memory by looking through the chapters. But once we get through all the recordings for book 1, we'll be reading book 2 in real time, and she'll be going over her thoughts immediately as she reads these chapters.
Yeah, we weren't even originally thinking we were going to do a podcast or anything like this. And we were just having a drink out one night talking about the book after I just finished the first one. And it was way too much fun for it to just be me and her sitting in a bar. So we figure we'll bring all of you into it. That way you can see it. Plus, apparently, Miss Lauren, while I was texting her all of my thoughts, was sharing it on Discord with all of her friends. So I figure if people are already going to know what I'm thinking, I might as well be the one to tell them.
I completely agree. I think that it's going to be a great fun to record together and get it all on video and share it with you guys. So, here are our thoughts, and we're going to dig in.
Jump right into the prologue.
I shouldn't have moved when I did. All right, so prologue. We are introduced to Lews Therin, who is looking for his wife, Ileana, and in comes Ellen.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. The first time I read the prologue, it took me 3 days trying to get past the first page. I am not, in and of itself, an imagery person.
That's fair.
I want things to immediately be happening, not just a crazy guy walking down a hallway. So I literally started it and then stopped.
Like, hang on, I got to dissect this a little bit more.
Like just put it down
Right.
and walked away, like had dinner with my boyfriend, like came back, tried to do it again, put it down again, walked away, watched like an episode of something stupid, and like went back to it like 3 days later and was like, no, Lauren loves these stupid books. I can make it past at least
I gotta commit. I gotta commit
like,
to
that's
this.
it. Like if I make through the prologue and then came back to you and said this book is shit,
Right.
like
right.
it would have been
right.
okay. And it wasn't. It was actually really good. But like that first little bit, all of that imagery,
It's
really,
a lot. It's
really
lot.
well written. Like
It
I
is.
can picture it in my head, but like that's not the sort of book I normally like go for.
Right.
So that was really tough for me. So just getting that out of the way.
And I think a lot of people agree about the prologue. It's so kind of like in your face and almost out of place as well.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people, they read the prologue and they're like, what am I walking into? And then chapter 1 happens and you're like, all right, I'm more confused.
Yeah.
But
also a lot of imagery going on right in the beginning of chapter 1. Like just
but
we'll
a lot
get to
of
that
world building. Absolutely.
Yeah. But then like when you're actually reading it and all of a sudden you've got like Lews Therin and he's doing his crazy thing.
Right.
And then Ellen walks in and like all of a sudden now things are happening. So
Yeah,
it was a lot more
absolutely.
interesting for me. And like we learn all of this stuff behind and like Shaitan, who is pretty much just Satan.
It sounds a lot like Satan. Yeah.
Satan. If
It's a
it's not
great word
Satan,
for it.
then we've named him wrong. It's just incorrect. It's like starting a movie and you're like, oh yeah, Damien, that's going to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, no, that's the hero. And you're like, I don't think he is.
No, well, he was improperly named, so start over.
So yeah, so like right off the bat, I've like got my bearings. Like,
Right.
Shaitan and this Ellen guy.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, right.
Not good people. Plus, all of a sudden, he's like taking credit for like the reason all these people are dead. Like you did it. You're horrible.
Yeah.
But like it was because of me.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's pretty much how he says it. Yeah. Word for word.
It's just like the taunting. I like the taunting.
The taunting, right.
Like
right.
I'm down for that sort of thing. And then everything got real crazy.
Yeah.
Like the end of the prologue is the weirdest thing. Like
It
he becomes
is.
a mountain.
A mountain,
Who
right.
does that?
Right.
Like who looks at a situation and goes, you know how I'm going to fix this? I'm going to become part of the landscape.
I don't like this anymore. We're going to add a mountain here and solve all my shame.
Yeah. I know a friend. He lives right up there. He would love a view of a mountain. Let me just electrify myself into a mountain.
Amazing.
I mean,
amazing.
It's really cool. And it's a great way to show the power.
Yeah, you're introduced so quickly to like the strength of this man, and you're like,
Yeah.
All right, where did that come from?
Like, yeah, like
you were crazy 2 seconds ago, and now you've made yourself into a mountain.
Like, okay, yeah.
That's
so he's
insane.
like full crazy, like doesn't even recognize that his house is littered with dead people, including that most of them are his family and friends.
Right.
Like, yeah, a couple scullery maids probably cooked it along the way too. But like for the most part, these are his kids and his sisters
and his wife.
And his wife, who he clearly loves.
Right.
Like, so yeah, that was really weird. That threw me a lot. And then all of a sudden Ellen shows up and he like heals him, and he's going on and on about how like, oh, you know, one of your sisters would have been able to heal you better than me, but like I can do at least the bare minimum. Right. And then all of a sudden this guy, once he's got his sanity back and realized that his gone from being the dragon to Kinslayer. Also
Kinslayer. Honestly.
All of a sudden he's like, I'm going to use my crazy tainted power to make myself a mountain.
A mountain.
Also, we're just going to reference, we're definitely going to have evil mountain shit later on, right?
Who knows?
Like, there's a lot of evil mountain energy going on. I feel like we're going to have to come back to that at some point. Like, the people that live in these mountains aren't sane, right? Or do people even live in the mountains?
You know, everybody on YouTube that'll be watching this and listening to the podcast will tell you the most common phrase for first-time readers is called grapho. Read and find out. It's been coined by Brandon Sanderson, who finished the series. So you're gonna hear Raffo all the time, and that's where I'm at. You know, you're gonna have to read and find out.
Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the evil mountain to show back up.
The evil mountain.
The evil mountain. But no, so like the dragon and Kinslayer and Betrayer of Hope.
Betrayer of Hope.
Like those
such
are some
a name.
Epic names right
yes.
there. Like, I like that so much.
Right.
I think that's really cool. I want like an epic name. Like,
we're gonna have to work on those.
Queen of Sarcasm. Could I have that? Could that be my name?
I think I could accept that.
Yeah?
I think that. Yeah.
Right. I will forever now, podcast listeners, be known as Maddie, Queen of Sarcasm. I accept bowing name. And curtsying. Also sarcastic remarks.
Lines up. It definitely lines up.
Thanks.
So that is the end of our prologue, and we'll move into chapter 1.
Yay.
All right, so chapter 1. Rand and Tam are heading into Evans Field for Beltane, and they're bringing their apple brandy.
Brandy.
We should have had the apple brandy today, but it's a little early. So
all I've got is apple pie moonshine.
I'm gonna pass on that. We're gonna pass.
She does not like moonshine.
I tried it.
She likes almost any other alcohol I can give her. She tries the moonshine and she's like, nah.
It's a no. It's a no for me. So Rand sees the black hooded rider on the road. Tam is not seeing him. And when they get to the village, they find out there's actually other people in from a different part of the world, which is like clearly unheard of at that point. So
yeah, it's so weird for me living in this century.
Right.
To think, and like, fair warning for everyone at home here, I work at a hotel. So like the idea of not
where we met.
Yes. The idea of not being used to strangers being in the area, so foreign to me. Like, I don't get that. I see like 100 people every day from like random
all
places.
over the world. Absolutely.
Like, very nice couple, spoke only Japanese the other day.
Yeah.
Super sweet.
And it wasn't suspicious at all.
No.
These random people show up that are clearly speaking the same language.
The hardest part is just I couldn't explain to them what time the pool was open.
That seems like a
challenge. They really wanted to know.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even do like write it down because they didn't do American numbers very well.
Understandable. Yeah.
They were very sweet.
I do respect people who travel without being able to understand the language. That just must be so hard. But
I can't.
Anyway,
yeah.
We get on tangents. This is going to happen. We just do this.
Yes.
That's why we're fun.
So we meet Rand and Tam and all of the imagery of the farms and things. Like I said, imagery's not my strong suit. But he
starts off the imagery very strong.
Very strong. Yeah. Like, it's like 3 pages of them just like walking down a road. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of imagery. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fair warning for everyone. Again, I skim some of the imagery. So if Lauren throws in and she's like, hey, did you remember this thing? And I say no, that's why. Full disclosure. That's going to happen. Like, you know, I like the books. I like the adventure of it. I like the characters for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, half of them.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Well, let's start. All right, Rand.
Yeah.
Super boring.
Right.
He is like the most boring human being. Like, but I mean, I feel like a lot of main characters for these books are boring because, like, so you can like imagine yourself as the main character.
And they start off so boring because they're so malleable as well. Like they're this like sponge almost. Like there's not really much. Yeah, right. There's not much to them in the beginning. Like of almost all main characters, unless you're starting in the heart of it, which not all books start that way.
Yes, so. I think of it like applesauce. Like when you get a plate of food, it's not the best food. It's not the worst food.
Right.
It's a little boring. A little cinnamon sugary.
Yeah.
But that's all it's got going.
Yeah.
So he was pretty boring. But we don't really know him yet either.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they don't really get into much details about them as a person. The imagery is strong, but the actual personal traits are not super strong in the first chapter.
Yeah, no. Yeah. He's at this point just a very boring teenage boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tam, though, reminds me a lot of my dad, even just from like this first meeting.
Yep.
He's got that kind of like gruff, hardworking, like I don't have time for your craziness. We are getting this brandy to the place we are going. Let's do it.
We've got a task. We're going. Let's do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which I, assume like my dad means that he is really cool and funny, and we'll get to that.
Yep.
And then there's the third character that we introduced to in this first part, which is the creepy black Dementor guy.
Right, Dementor.
Yeah.
That's my favorite reference that she used was for the Black Rider. She immediately was like, is it like a Dementor? And I just love that. I love that.
Dementor.
Right.
Like, listen, if I went into this book not knowing there was a fantasy element to it, I think maybe he was just a robber or
something. Like a bandit. Yeah. Right.
But no, like I know from the get-go that like this is fantasy stuff.
Black Rider, Black Horse. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's either that or Shaytana showing up right in the beginning. That seemed a little bit too on the nose.
Oh, yeah, that does seem on the nose. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And I feel if there's 14 books, they're probably not jumping into it that strong right off the bat.
You're right. That's fair.
All right, but then we get to the town, and once we get to the town, there's a lot more going on. Still a lot of imagery, but a lot more action and things, which I was about. And we get introduced to all of these different things. So we've got like the women's circle. We've got the party that's going on, the Beltane, like the May Day celebration, they're putting up the pole in the square, and everyone's really excited, and like they've got the brandy now, so like it's gonna be
like it's gonna be a great party.
We're about to get
brandy's here.
Fine, like it's good. So like we meet the mayor who seems merry. And then we meet the bitchy one, and
naive.
Her. And then we meet Matt, who seems like the sort of kid that I'd be friends with, but I'd throw things at a lot.
Yes.
Like, he's so extra.
Absolutely.
But he seems genuinely funny.
Right.
Like, he's sitting there, he's like, yeah, we got a badger, let's go.
The badger.
Like, what?
Right.
Oh. I do think it's really cool that they've got like the women's circle.
Yes.
I think that's a really nice
The concept of having like not just the council but also the women's circle is one of the things that like I really do love the structure of that, because like as much as I think things should be integrated, that's probably my, millennial brain assuming things should be integrated.
Millennial.
But I love that they both have so much power. Like it's not like there's just the women that complain about things. Like they're the women that get shit done as well. Right. So
like, listen, I will make fun of Nynaeve forever because, but she does get shit done.
She does.
She's an effective
with a stick, but she gets it done.
Sometimes you get things done by hitting it as hard as you can. That's how I fix computers.
Right.
So I get that.
Most of the time she's hitting people, but that's all right.
If I could hit people, I would.
Actually, I agree with that. Yeah,
I've been told by so many people. Yeah. You can't just punch people when they annoy you.
And you're like, why?
Cops. Anyway, no, I do kind of really like the fact that like she's the wisdom.
Right.
Like that's a really like, first of all, like obviously she's super young, so like she really knows what she's doing.
Right.
She's got like that skill behind it. She's got like that witchy healer, fortune teller sort of vibe.
It's a very intuitive name to be calling it a wisdom. Like, there's so many different names for it, like in the real world, like shamans and medicine women and stuff like that. But for it to be called like a wisdom, it really does kind of give you this feel of like, okay, while she's cocky as hell. She is above everybody else because she's a wisdom. Like, it gives you a good feel of why she's such an ass.
Because she's a meteorologist therapist.
Meteorologist therapist. And holistic healer.
And holistic healer.
There we go. That's it. That's what a wisdom is, my friends.
I don't need a wisdom. I have Lauren. She gives me crystals and tells me when I'm in retrograde.
No, actually, yeah, I mean, and, you know, I pull out the sage, the Palo Santi, anyway. Yeah.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
I might be real life wisdom, but who knows?
You could be a real life wisdom.
I mean, basically, but.
I love it. Now we need a circle of women.
We can work that out. I'm sure
happen.
we can get that. We can get that happening.
Yeah. All right, I'm down for this.
Circle of women at Jordan Con.
Yeah,
You heard it here first now.
Down for that. I am going to just be in charge of sarcasm, though.
There we go.
Okay, I'm not good at, fortune telling and helping people heal. Just sarcasm. It makes things a little bit nicer. Well, makes me happy.
It's debatable, but
yeah.
It makes you nicer.
It makes me nicer. As long as you only take what I say with like 25% accuracy.
There we go. Yeah. I think that's fair.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we do find out that Matt has also seen the Dark Rider.
Yes. And I love that part because it's like, Rand has felt like he's just going crazy. He's like, oh my God, am I really losing it? Like, has the winter been this bad that I'm seeing things? And then he finds out that Matt has also seen it.
He doesn't have a therapist. He's only got an in, and she's just going to hit him.
She's just going to hit him.
So
she's going to be like, stop being stupid, boy.
Pretty much. So like that adds a super level of ominousness.
Right.
Ominosity? Ominosity.
Ominosity.
Yeah. An extra level of ominosity. Like, we know things aren't going to go well for a little while here. Which I think is the beginning of any good quest. Like, we don't start Lord of the Rings like everything was happy and sunny.
Like, no.
I mean,
it's about to pop off.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. Yeah. And then, Matt just seems like he's going to be a fun character. He's super stupid, but goof.
He's so reckless.
Like, I would definitely want to party with him. I don't know.
100%. Yeah.
Don't know if I'd want to start a life-changing mission with him.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, like,
I would be hesitant.
Yeah. If I was like asking the person to like stand next to me and go on like a quest.
Yeah. It wouldn't be Matt.
No.
I'd go alone.
Yeah. Like, I'll make friends on the way.
No, I got this.
It's fine. It's fine.
Don't worry about me.
Just pack an extra book in my bag.
Backs away slowly.
No. Well, we'll meet tomorrow at noon. And then, like, you're out at 8
Leave that.
God.
Sun's up, I'm out. Right.
And then, okay, so this one other thing that they mention, well, Rand mentions it, when they're walking down, is the flame in the void.
Right.
Which sounded,
taught him.
Really cool to me, like this sort of meditation, but it's got like the soldier vibe, like you're going into like the killing void, like
right,
you're getting
which is
yourself
interesting
ready.
because I never thought of it like that until you brought that up to me. Like, I thought of the flame in the void, like you said, as a meditation kind of thing, but then when you mentioned that it seems like a soldier kind of tactic to get you into like the war mindset, it actually does make sense.
Yeah, like you're about to be in a battle, you need to clear yourself, get yourself into the mode for it.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to just be a battle. Like in modern day, but going into like a debate.
Exactly. Right.
But like back where they're doing this stuff, I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of need for like Tam to start a debate.
No, probably not.
But
the
like,
council.
Yeah,
it's not really a debate in the council.
Yeah. I mean, like it
depends on who's there, but whatever,
Yeah, he knows all those people though, so like it's still not like a debate. It's not like you're going up and like your school is debating against this other school.
Right. But like coming from what you said, how like you thought of your dad, and because your dad had the military background, like that was what came to mind for you. Yeah. Where in my head, nobody ever taught me like a flame and void kind of situation. It was like, my parents didn't have that kind of like talk with me. So like in my head, it reminds me of something like how I meditate. Like I've learned different styles of meditation. So that's all I went to in my head. But because you've got a dad that was in the army.
My dad was in the army. So he always was like, before you're going to get into a fight, even if it's just a verbal confrontation, like you calm yourself down. You put yourself in a place so that you're not going to lose control, so that you can react to what they're saying to you or what they're going to do. And you can be perceptive of what's happening around you. And like, that's kind of what the flame in the void, like made sense to me as.
Right. When my dad told me when I was in fights, he said, make sure you're the second person to punch, so it's self-defense, and then make sure you're the last person to punch so you win. That was the only real,
No.
That was it.
My
I mean,
dad-
it worked,
yeah.
but that was the only suggestions my dad ever had for fighting.
No. My dad's suggestion for fighting was make sure they hit you somewhere everyone can see the bruise, and you hit them somewhere no one can see the bruise. So for the next week, they're the one that hit you, no matter who hit first.
Oh my god, that's actually very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of chapter 1. We got through everything we've pretty much seen in there, so we'll move on to chapter 2.
Yeah.
So chapter 2, Matt and Rand are unloading the brandy in the inn. Mare and Alvira gives them honey cakes. I mean,
Honey cakes
and apple brandy.
Oh my god, I want honey cakes and apple brandy. Why don't we have that, Lauren?
We really should have worked.
You are in charge of planning.
Not a good situation. And then Matt tells Rand about the strangers that are in the inn. And yeah.
And yeah, so just go from there.
Yep.
Firstly, I love that Moran is named Moran because it reminds me of Morgaine, like Morgan Le Fay.
Right.
Which like already in my head puts in like this like powerful priestess wizard vibes.
Right.
So like I'm already like it's like with Shaitan. Like I'm already getting a feel for who this person is.
Just by the names themselves.
Just from the thing.
Yes.
So like in my head I'm imagining her as like a Morgan Le Fay sort of character.
Right.
Obviously Morgan Le Fay could be good, she could be evil.
Yeah, she could go both ways.
Like
That's fine.
you don't know. And then depending on what story you read about Camelot, she is both.
Right.
So
yeah, they spin it totally different ways. So
yeah. So like I kind of really like that. That her name is so good, but it's different enough that it's like
it is
its own thing.
It's its own name, but it's got a vibe.
Yeah,
like you feel an immediate vibe.
There's an immediate vibe there. I think first of all, I think it's adorable how excited Matt is. He's like, she's like a lady.
Yeah. Yes, immediately.
Like, all right, Matt's gonna crush.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then he's telling them about like Lan, and he's like, he's so cool. Like he's got a sword. Like this is the coolest thing anyone could possibly ever do. Is like have a sword, and he's got like a magic cape.
Yeah, right.
Like he's got this whole like he's like in his head, he's already creating these stories about these people, which I think
like a lady and a knight. Like that's where we're going already.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, like there's a lot of distrust for the outsiders.
Yeah.
Just throughout the whole
the
town.
very sheltered people, clearly.
Yeah. They're not about this. And that's fine. And I kind of a little bit get that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, back in this
we're not really from a big city, so I mean, like we live in kind of smaller towns, so it's not, I mean, I live in a city now, but where we're from is very small towns as well. So, I mean, it's not that out of reach for us to understand that, but it's still very, very sheltered.
It is, yeah. It's a little bit more sheltered than us. Like, it feels a lot to me like a small farming village vibe, which is what it is. So that makes sense, and I get that. But just like that lack of trust, that being skeptical confuses me, and I'll tell you why. It's because they don't have people that ever show up.
Right.
Why would they have so little trust if they never have people to make it so that they wouldn't trust them? Like, if I'm not used to a situation, why would I automatically be like, this is horrible, I don't trust these people?
Why do you immediately go to a threat?
Right.
Like, the immediate thought is like, ooh, stranger, we're in danger here. Like, why would that be your first thought? Like,
yeah, and they mentioned that the only people that really show up into this town are people that are selling things, like traveling merchants and things like that. And they trust those people enough to buy things from them and have them in the town. So like if that's their really, that's their only experience, I don't quite get that.
Right.
I mean, I kind of get that, like, it's just that he's trying to set it up as, you know, like, what's his name? Robert Jordan is like, you know, we just don't trust people.
Right.
And I get that. And I kind of.
There's a part of me that wants to say that it's because they've had just this bad winter. All their, like, livestock is going missing. And I feel like I could understand the tense situation that they're put in. But this would seem like if you had a lady show up in your town after the worst winter of your life, you'd think that would be a good thing.
Right. And like a well-dressed, carries herself well, sort of.
Clearly she has money.
Right. Like
she's gonna spend it.
Matt confuses her with an actual like lady of the court. Like, so why would you look at that person?
You'd think they'd be excited.
Yeah, you think, like a little vagabond shows up and all of his clothes are broken. You're like, yeah, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah, right.
Like, I would get that. Again, it seems a little bit rude, but I would get that.
A little bit.
But like, like someone shows up, clearly has money, knows how to take care of themselves. Why would you immediately be like, don't trust that situation? That's no good.
They're nuts.
But yeah, and then there was the whole thing when they go outside and the raven shows up.
Right.
Or was it a crow? Whatever. It was an angry
It's a raven.
blackbird.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. An angry blackbird.
Angry
Raven.
blackbird.
There you go. Perfect description. Perfect.
That's ominous.
Yes.
Already, like right off the bat again.
Yeah.
Ominosity off the charts going on right now.
Right.
Like, don't like this.
Yeah, that's true.
And then this is like when we're introduced to Moraine, like first person now. Like she's there and she's like scaring the bird away. So like immediately you're kind of like, oh, okay. She also thinks this is ominous.
Yeah, she also sees something's wrong with that.
Yeah, like
maybe she's not that threatening. Maybe she's not like, a scary lady. She's like, get this raven out of here. What the heck is going on?
I don't need your bird stuff. Your bird stuff.
Definitely have a raven back here too. But anyway.
And then she does the thing where she gives them the coins.
Right.
And like apparently it's like a lot of money for this coin.
Yeah, because they're like shocked.
They're like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like, what is this?
And like, I don't know about you, if I went to like a farming town, I wouldn't just like pop a coin in a random kid's hand.
Right, yeah, I'm not flashing my money around.
It's one thing if the kid's like, on the side of the street, like, oh, let me show you something. And they like, how kids every once in a while want to like go to someone's yard and pick up leaves so that they can make money.
Or if they helped her like bring her bags into the inn or something like that.
Like, and if she gave them a coin, then fine, that would make sense. But she just randomly pops a coin into these kids'
She's like, because you're going to do something for me in the future. And I'm like, nah.
Again, ominous.
Don't trust this at all.
No.
Like, why? Why is this okay?
Right.
And then it was so weird to me that the weird little kid is immediately like, I'm going to spend this.
Yeah.
And then Matt, who so far is just like the goofy weird friend, is immediately like, I don't think I should spend this. I think I'm supposed to keep
this.
Like
he gets like this like thought in his head to like break his craziness where he's like, no, I'm going to be smart about this. And you're like, you have a badger. Okay, well,
fine. You have a badger. You're about to let loose on a person.
You're the smart one. Yeah.
Sure. All right.
How'd that happen?
Let's do that. Like what? Yeah. So that was a little bit weird in and of itself. And then also like they're like, why are you here? And she's like, oh yeah, because I'm interested in history. And they're like, there's no history here. And like that doesn't make sense to me either.
Right.
Like I get that like it's folklore and things, but like as far as I've ever seen, like I could tell you the history of Portsmouth, like to a T.
Right.
I was
even like the legends of around here. Like there are some stupid little legends around here that are probably the same legends you hear all over the country that are like the the baby in the cemetery kind of thing. Like everybody has that story.
The ghost ship that goes every once in a while.
Like there's legends everywhere you go, so it's so bizarre. They're just like there's no history here, and you're like.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But you don't have any strangers come in.
Right.
So you don't ever get like too much diversity. So you've got history and like you've got generation and generation of people who have lived here and there's nothing you can think of. Like it's kind of bizarre.
Like that, that is so
that intrigued me the first time I read it too. Yeah.
And then last point for this chapter, and it's just because I love him so much, is Lan is like the hot, mysterious stranger that I immediately want to do.
Yep.
Like I'm like if I was in that book, I would have been like, nah, Lan, walk with me. I need to have a drink with you.
Where's Lan?
Let's go. Like
absolutely
immediately. Like they don't even describe him that much.
No, they really
it's just
don't.
The way he walks over all like smooth and like grabs Moraine. He's like, "What are you doing? Let's go!"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
And you're like, "Wow, I think I'm in love."
Yeah,
that's it.
Like immediately.
That's all it takes.
I was like, "What? This mysterious hot stranger has showed up. Why are we only talking about the crazy girl?"
Focus. No, agreed.
Yeah.
All
right, perfect.
So that's the end of chapter 2, and we'll move on to chapter 3. All right, so then we are in chapter 3. Paddon Fane rolls up to the village. He is the merchant. He's kind of a well-known merchant, and then we are introduced to Egwene in this chapter as well.
Yes. Okay, so Paddon Fane, right off the bat, super like wants to be the center of attention.
Oh yeah, he's eating it up.
He's like, "Hello, everyone! Run up to me!" in this little cacophony.
Party's here.
Yeah, like a little cacophony of everyone running up and pushing up and trying to buy things and trying to like get news, and they're yelling and yelling. And
absolutely.
So like he's like loving that. He's like, "Yes, look to me, I am your god."
Oh my God.
Which seems really cool. And then he starts telling them the story about the false dragon.
Right.
And I guess people are like really freaking out because most false dragons don't have powers.
Yes.
And this guy, like, he has powers.
Right.
And
they've even sent the Aes Sedai. Or they're going to send the Aes Sedai. Like, there's rumors that there's going to be, like, a war in Gildan because of the false dragon.
Yeah. So, like, obviously very worrisome.
Right.
Like, this is not great.
Right. Not good at all.
And then there's the one guy who, like, doesn't give a crap about any of that and is like, I need to buy pins for my wife.
I need my pins.
Why aren't you selling me pins? And everyone else is like, there is a dragon.
They're like, shut up, guy. We're listening.
You're focused. And then the elders kind of come out, the mayor and Tam, and they're like trying to get control of the situation.
Settle down.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
No.
And then there's like more questions, more craziness, and then they like kidnap Padden into the inn.
They're like, okay, since you're not going to stop and they're not going to stop inside, let's go.
They're like, this is not good. Like, you're pretty much telling everyone that suddenly there's a warlord with magic powers. Could you calm down about it?
Please relax, sir.
Right? And here's my thing that I don't get about the false dragons. Like, okay, maybe this one, because he does have powers, seems a little bit more dragony.
Yeah. It's true.
If the other ones don't have powers, why do people follow them?
How does that happen?
Like, I don't...
Like, they're just such good con men? Like, that's the only explanation.
Like, is it like a cult sort of deal? But even then, like, you're supposed to have magic powers if you're the dragon. Like, this is base dragon stuff. Like, the last dragon turned himself into a mountain. Into a mountain, Lauren.
Right. If you can't even, like, muster up a tiny bit of magic, I mean, how would you believe that?
Right. Like, I'm going to need you to at least be able to, like, warm your tea without a fire. Like, let's go
Iroh style. And then Zuko, are you an idiot? Smacks tea. Anyway. We're very big Avatar fans.
Yeah.
So
pretty solid on that.
We'll make references.
You might not have noticed this yet in the video, but we're nerds.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's pretty obvious because
kind of why we're here.
We're making a podcast about a fantasy series.
It does work with our theme here. Yeah.
Also, if you haven't seen Avatar, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, work on it. It's on Netflix now. You don't have any excuses anymore. So
it's so good.
Unless it's not in your country, then I guess I'll give you that excuse.
No,
that's fine. It's not in all countries.
I expect them to be able to find a way to stream it.
VPN. I think Nabliss has something going on. Anyway, shout out to him.
All right, so then that's been kidnapped, and all of a sudden they're there, and we meet Perrin.
Yes.
Who I enjoy.
That's right. I forgot he shows up in this chapter.
Yeah. So we meet Egwene.
Perrin's a nice, calming, like...
I like Perrin.
Yeah.
Perrin reminds me of my boyfriend.
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got that, like, nice, calm,
wow.
I'm a very, like, chill person.
I think you kind of blew my mind a little bit.
You're welcome.
So Perrin's a Cancer. All right, we're moving on. Don't come for me in the comments.
Figure that out. No, he could be a Sagittarius.
No.
He likes to travel and do things.
Like, he doesn't like to travel. He is forced to. Anyway, no.
I force Chad to travel with me all the time.
And he's a Cancer. Anyway.
He's a Sagittarius.
Oh, right. He has a Cancer moon.
He has a Cancer moon.
I still vote that Perrin's a Cancer.
Fine. I'm going to allow it.
He's a water sign at least. Anyway, we're going to move on.
At least one of our future upcoming episodes is definitely going to be sorting people into astrologicals.
That's 100% going to be our next one once we finish all these book one recordings. That's got to be it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a blast.
That's going to be so much fun. I'll be about that. Yeah, that'll be good.
You heard it here first. Come back for Lauren's zodiac readings. Thank you.
She's pretty good. It's solid.
Sometimes.
So we meet Perrin. He's really cool. He's like, I'm not super worried about this dragon situation.
Right.
Like, it does not affect my life at all.
Right.
Please just let's get back to.
He's like reasonable.
Yeah. Also, enjoy the fact that he immediately doesn't like Matt.
He's just like, oh, come on, Matt. Like, you could just hear it. Like,
right. He's friends with Rand, and Matt's friends with Rand. And you know when you have that one friend that your friend also has.
You're like, I gotta like this person
you're like,
too.
I'm gonna spend time with them, so I'm gonna make it work, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, if we were both sitting alone at the inn, I wouldn't move and sit next to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say right here in my seat.
Yeah. So that vibe is really cool. And then the fact that he's also seen.
Right. Now he's the third person that has seen it.
Right. And like much more stable.
Yeah. Right. He's not as nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because Matt is not a reliable witness for a situation.
Nope.
Like,
Nope.
if Matt's telling me a story, I'm obviously only going to believe like a third of what he's saying.
You'd only believe it if Rand also agreed. Like, you'd be like, oh, wait, you've both seen it at separate times. All right, maybe. But in my head, when Rand is telling him, my immediate thought was also like, have you ever had those friends who are like, oh, yeah, I did that too?
Yeah.
You know, like that's almost how Matt would seem to be. Even though I do believe he's telling the truth, I could feel that way about him. So now that Perrin has said it, you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Like this is...
People are seeing it.
Yeah, Perrin's not the one that's going to lie about it.
No.
Like, if Perrin says he saw it, it happened.
Yeah, that's a lot of work for Perrin.
So, yeah. So, I mean, that's really cool. And then Nin and Egg walk up and they're like, hey, what's up? Cool. We're badass. Like, let's go. And Nin's like, what's all the commotion about? Like, what's wrong with all of you? Why are you making a fuss in my town square?
Right. It's my town.
It's like, well, I don't like this. And they tell her about the thing. And I love how she's immediately like, I'm going to go ask the right questions. Those men are idiots. Honestly,
that's one of my favorite parts. Like, all right, I'm going to interfere because, like, I know we're not going to get the right information if I don't.
Right. That just that level of confidence right there.
Yes.
That I'm going to go and make this better. Like, forget the fact that
it's very your level of confidence.
And I make things better. So,
point proven. You're welcome. Hey.
And then Egg is there. I don't know if I like Egg or if I dislike Egg, because sometimes I really like her, and sometimes I think she's super stupid. Which I'm pretty sure it's just because she's friends with Nin, and Nin just rubs the stupid off on her.
Yeah.
But like she seems really like sassy and fun.
Yeah.
And not at all the correct pairing for Rand, who is so boring.
Right.
Not good.
No. You almost just don't like get it. Right. Like in the beginning I was just like, sure.
Right.
Okay, how'd that work?
Yeah. I'm like,
were you friends at childhood and like you grew apart but you still have to cling? That's what it feels like.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Like your parents have always been friends, so you knew each other for
It's
forever.
always worked for so long, and then you kind of grew up and you're different people now, but you cling to each other anyway because it's what you know. Like a comfort zone thing.
I would get that. Or like, Rand, they've described him as being a little bit different than everyone else in the village. Like he looks a little bit different. So maybe like she's got that confident, sassy sort of thing.
True, and he's got the insecure thing.
Yeah, so like they kind of vibe that way, and then she's like, all the other boys are super boring. Like they're all very similar, and he's like stable and smart, and like I can make this work.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
She's falling for Perrin. She's made bad choices, but he is a blacksmith apprentice.
I mean, really,
he has to be jacked.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that she's not immediately falling for this kid, I don't understand that. Don't get it.
Bad choices.
Yeah. Like, I kind of get why Rand is attracted to her.
Naturally,
like,
yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then she's talking about how, like, she wants to be a wisdom. And I'm like, okay, like, cool. It's good for you to have aspirations. I'm down for that.
Right.
I mean, it seems a little weird.
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost unwarranted in the beginning. You're just like, okay, you want to be a wisdom. I mean, like, sure, is it because you're friends with Nynaeve?
Because that's the only reason I can see so far to want to do that. Like, But, like, she seems cool.
But we don't know enough at this point either, so.
That's true. Like, all we know right now is just, like, one conversation she's having.
Right.
And, I mean, they're so ridiculous. Like, Rand is all sitting over there. He's like, I want to dance with you. Please dance with me. Dance!
Oh, my God.
I mean, but for real, though.
Yeah.
And then she's just in there like, he blush, yes.
I can't.
What? That's how I imagined it in my head.
That's it.
That's
the scene.
Full stop. Moving on. I'm going to send my information to the writers of the show. I
can rework this for you.
I will make this better. This is a musical episode. I need like a little peer away from Matt in the background.
Oh my God.
All right. That's chapter 3.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything for chapter 3.
Yeah. I think so.
We'll move on to chapter 4. All right, so now we're in chapter 4, and we are introduced to Tom. He is kind of showing off a little bit, and then we have Tam and Rand heading back.
All right, yeah. So pretty interesting chapter. First of all, because I love Tom like running out of the inn, like that crazy bitch.
Yeah, oh my god, that's the best part.
Like, what is
I
with this?
immediately love him because you're just like, oh, you just say it how it is. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He's like this crazy girl child.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But like, I get it because she seems so annoying.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
She's just a big bully.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
and she's got like this like this ownership sort of deal of like,
Right.
I don't need you,
Mhm.
just leave.
Mhm.
So like he's all upset to start with, and then he sees he's got like an audience, and he's like, hello.
Yeah.
Children love me.
Oh yes, you've come for me. Hello.
I've arrived.
Got some attention seekers there. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then like once Moraine and Lan show up, he's sitting there, he's like,
Right.
whoa, no, I
Yeah.
am the weird fun stranger.
Right.
What are you doing stepping on my coattails
It's like
here?
territory turf issues. Like, how dare you be here right now? I'm here right now.
Like, it is me.
Yeah.
Hello. What's going on with that?
Oh my god.
So like that's really funny. Just like he's immediately like nervous,
Yeah.
or like jealous, like, oh, do I have competition, or like
Right.
what's going on?
Right. Right.
He also like the way he reacts to how they're dressed,
Mm.
like because like the idea
Mhm.
that they're strangers isn't necessarily, I think, like so shocking for him.
Right.
But like he looks at them and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
these are the type of people I'm gonna have to.
He like sizes them up and immediately knows. He's not looking at them like from the town perspective of like, oh, these people aren't from here. He's looking at these people like he's got an idea of who they actually are just
Right?
by seeing them.
Just from looking at them. He's
Right.
like, there's only a certain type of people that's going to look this good
Right.
and be out in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so, okay.
Yeah.
So he's immediately, he's like, this is not
Mhm.
good. I don't like this.
Right.
And then he starts doing
Right.
his little, like, skill demonstration
Yep.
sort of deal to be
Mhm.
like, I'm so cool.
Yeah. Don't look at her. Look at me.
Right. I'm so much better. Okay, I'll finish this tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
And then, so once that little drama is
Yeah.
out of the way,
Right.
we've got the council and Nin coming back out,
Mhm.
being like, oh no, this is very scary. I don't like any of this.
Right. Right.
And Tam's just sitting there like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah. He's immediately just like, it's really not that big of a deal. We have no threat here. Just
Right.
relax.
Which, again,
He comes out so cool and confident.
reminds
Just,
me of that, like, soldier sort of deal where
Yep.
he's just like, I've assessed the situation.
yeah,
There's
like
no
so
need for us to be
logically,
worried.
like, and yeah.
Yeah, like there's
Mhm.
17 steps before we have to worry.
Before we worry, correct. Yeah.
We are not there yet.
exactly.
We're
right.
like, keep a moderate eye on the situation
Yeah.
levels.
Right. Right. Right.
Which, I mean, like, I like that. I like that he's very level-headed.
Yeah.
And it is, like, it's a very far away conflict.
It is.
It's like, I wouldn't get,
Right.
like, the wildfires in California. Am I paying attention to it? Yes.
Of
Do I feel bad
course.
for the people that are there? Yes.
Absolutely.
Am I on the other side of the country so I'm not worried about my house setting on fire?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, that's kind of how I feel like his vibe with the whole thing
That's a good
is.
point. Yeah.
Is he's
Yeah.
kind of like, like, it's a thing and it's bad.
I
and we should pay
understand
attention
the
to it,
severity of it for them.
right?
There's no severity for us.
Right? Like, there's nothing we can do for them, and
Right.
there's nothing that's going to immediately
Right.
affect us right now, so I don't need to be
Absolutely.
in the middle of this sort of deal.
Absolutely.
But then they also set up the patrol.
Right.
And I'm like, that's got to be just like a placebo effect, right, for the town.
It must be. It seems like the only reason that they would really do it is just to like soothe everybody's concerns. Because otherwise you're coming out of this and just being like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not really going to calm anybody down. It's just going to inflame the whole situation.
Right, yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
then
that
everyone's
just
going to
makes
be all
sense.
worried. So, like, I get that.
Yeah.
And then I like that Tam and Rand kind of talk about the fact that now there's other people who have seen this Dark Rider.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
We're taking it seriously now.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, all right, this is a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if Perrin saw it, it must be true. Pretty much.
The sturdy one has ceded. All right, we're going to take it seriously now.
He's pretty no nonsense. He wouldn't
Yeah.
make this up.
Exactly.
We'll pay attention to this.
Exactly.
So then it's also like, well, maybe they're
Mhm.
doing the patrols for the Dark Rider and not for
Right.
the war itself, but they just don't
Right.
want to worry the town with the whole second problem.
Right, like, oh, you just got like alerted to a war, but we know that there's a Dark Rider, possibly bandit, murderer, who knows, riding around in the woods,
Right.
scaring kids.
It's like we don't like strangers.
Yeah.
And
Like,
this one's
we're-
super creepy.
We're already at threat level like midnight, to quote Michael Scott. Like they're at like threat level midnight in this town for no reason. We don't need to give them a real reason.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
no
Like,
thanks.
let's not tell them something that might
That's
actually be a
like
problem.
really gonna be an issue.
I do kind of like how like Tam seems sincerely worried.
Yeah.
He's taking it really seriously. He's very confident that it's going to be okay.
Right.
But also like this is a issue.
Yeah.
Like, we're
not brushing it under the rug.
Yeah. Like, you guys are good. And I think that's really good because like the fact that the kids had been planning like, well, we're gonna have to find a couple more people and then we'll go to the mayor and we'll do this whole thing. Whereas Tam just comes out.
That's a lot of stress for a teenager.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot to put on a teenager. So it's like Tam, the gentle and like kind one is like, no, we understand and we hear you. Like for an adult to do that is just so comforting for a kid. So it really was such a good move.
Yeah, no, it was so like very fatherly. Like he had that moment where he's like, I'm gonna protect my kid. I'm gonna make sure you're okay. He's just the sweetest.
I can't.
Like, yeah, because I mean, it's like even if it was fake, like when you have a nightmare, your parent makes you feel better.
Right. It's not about like your kid has a nightmare and you're like, oh, go to sleep.
There's obviously no ghost there. I don't know what your problem is, and like walks away. Like no.
And we're all like, yeah, I know, but like I can't sleep now.
Could you make me some like tea and sit with me for a minute? Like,
can I have a hug? Like something.
No hugs for you.
None.
Yeah, so like I think that it's really good, and like they've got the town like on alert now, so they know what's happening. Right. And knowing that the adults in the town are taking it seriously is very helpful, I think, for the kids. Makes everyone feel a little bit better. Yeah. We've also got how shocked Rand is by Tom's eyes. Yeah. And that is okay, so that was the first moment I really liked Rand.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Because up until now, he's been kind of boring. He's got a crush on a girl. He's got a dad who's kind
of bland. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But all of a sudden, like, Tom walks out of the inn and he's got, like, those blue eyes. And Rand is like, I've never seen someone else with blue eyes.
Right. Like, you feel the severity of how different he is. Like, you hear, like, in the beginning, it's like, yeah, he looks different than anybody else. And you get that, and it processes. But then when he sees blue eyes for the first time on somebody else, it really sets in. You're like, oh shit. Right. Like it must be really weird for him.
Yeah, and it's only like 2 paragraphs in the whole book, but like they're so like heart-wrenching, that moment where he's like, oh my God, there might be an entire land of people who look like me. Like that moment where you're like, to be that little kid who feels so different.
And insecure about your identity. Like to see somebody else that even slightly looks like you. Like
like that was so
it is heartfelt.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I really like it. And so then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, like now Rand is
has
like
depth.
He's a real
There's
person.
A little more depth to him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it also really tells how sheltered they all are.
Truly.
Because like, listen, I totally get that like blue eyes aren't as popular as brown eyes. They never will be in the world.
No.
But to be in a situation where none of the other merchants or guards or anyone who's ever come through this town have ever had blue eyes. Right. That just really shows how completely separate they are.
It's a whole new level of world building without any imagery. You all of a sudden like got a complete vibe of the town. Like you get it now. You're like, oh man, all right. Not only are they terrified of strangers, but they've never seen a single person with blue eyes as long as Rand has been alive.
Right.
That's intense.
Like, it's not like, okay, like if you were in like deep Africa the first time like a person with blue eyes showed up, that was crazy. Right. But that's like a whole continent. Right. Whereas like the way that the map shows this world, like, it's all fairly close together.
It's not that far. Right.
Right. Like it's not a crazy
It's so desolate though for that to be like a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that really threw me. And then one of the other things that kind of popped out to me, and I know that when I first told you about it, you're like, I hadn't even noticed that when it happened,
I didn't notice. Yeah.
Is when Moraine talks to Tom for the first time, she calls him Master Bard.
Yep.
And not just, oh, hey, or like.
Which is so interesting. I definitely did not catch that on my first read. Yeah. Like, at all.
And everyone else is like, oh, the Glee Man. Like.
Right. You've got a name for him. You get it. Yeah. And then she's like, Master Bard.
And she walks up, all very serious. Oh, hello, Master Bard.
And it's like, hi.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Why is he a master bard? Like what
makes him the master?
But then it also kind of it pokes back to the fact that when he first saw Lana Moraine, he had an instant reaction too. Yeah. So then you're like, do they know each other?
Right. There's immediate reactions from both of them. Right, like how much do they know about each other? Really?
Like, do they know of each other, or have they just met other people in similar circumstances and they're going off of that?
Right.
So, like, that really stuck out to me. I was like, why Master Bard? Like, what's so special about this random man in a weird cape?
Yep.
That makes him a Master Bard.
It's a good point. It's a good observation.
And Moraine has already told the kids a couple times, like, don't call me lady. So, like,
Right.
titles are clearly important to her.
Right.
She doesn't want a title that's not hers.
She's not a lady. Don't call her one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So for her to give someone else a title.
And that's a heavy title. It's not just Bard. It's Master Bard. That's a big one.
So, like, yeah, like, you're indicating that he is the master of what he has studied.
Right.
So that really threw me. And then I'm like, okay, so, like, this Tom guy, clearly going to be a little bit more important than I had originally assumed. Like, I thought he was just there.
You've leveled him up now.
Yeah. He's gone from momentary amusement to, oh, okay, a thing.
I'm going to pay attention. Yeah. Right.
So that was really, that was really strange to me. And then just in general, the fact that everyone's, like, coming together, they're all in the town square now. And, like, Rand and Tam are going home, but I'm like, all the, like, little players seem to be here. Everyone's going in, and, like, we've only met a handful of people. Like, they talk about the big crowd, or they mention, like, the crazy family.
Right.
But, like, we've only met a couple people.
Yeah.
And everyone seems focused on, like, this Dark Rider thing. And then you've got this separate little situation here with the out-of-towners. And you're like, this is weird. Yeah.
You already just feel uneasy a little bit. Like, the setup is not a comfortable setup.
It's not.
No.
And it's like, it's a nice build-up, and I like it. And I enjoy the way it all kind of, like, works together. And it's flowing very well together, even though you've got these two totally, like, you would assume, separate situations going on.
Right.
But they're all kind of melding together. And they were set.
Yeah.
And they're, like, leaving. And you're like, okay, so what's going to happen now? Because the next day is the holiday.
Right.
So it's
next
like,
day is Beltane. Yeah.
Of course, like, just having taken creative writing classes and having read a lot of books.
Yeah.
Having crazy stuff go down on a holiday, that seems like right on par.
Yeah.
So now you're, like, all amped up. You're like, oh my goodness.
You're like, well, what's going to happen at Beltane?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's our take here on the first 4 chapters and the prologue. So if you guys have anything that you thought in the first couple of chapters that we didn't cover, put a comment, reach out to us on Discord, on Twitter. We are happy to do a sort of follow-up episode and reach out to you about whatever it is that you saw that we didn't, or if you have thoughts to what we said. We want to be kind of as interactive as possible, make it our own little, like, book club sort of feel. Plus, I, again, have read all of the first book already, so we're going off of some of my old notes. So there's a good possibility I've missed something. Once we get into the second book, I will be reading it as we do it, so that will be a little bit more fresh. But for right now, there's definitely a chance that we've just missed certain things.
Absolutely.
So reach out, let us know, ask us questions. We are happy to be here for you.
Yeah. We're going to have a channel in the Discord called Ask Maddie. So if you're a part of Discord, you can feel free to reach out there, or like she said, you can reach us on Twitter.
All right.
And that is the end of podcast episode number 1.
It's nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you.